8. Karina Armando. During one evening in June 2023, patrolman Robert Alvator started following a Dodge Caliber after he noticed the vehicle overtly swerving, tailgating, and driving erratically in Highlands, New Jersey. He eventually pulled the car over to the side of the road and came face to face with two bikini-clad women and their driver, 20-year-old Karina Armando, who admitted to having a few drinks at a nearby beach bar. During the stop, Patrolman Alvator mentioned that he saw Armando and her friend, 24-year-old Olivia Morrow, laughing and joking while not swerving in and out of lanes on the road. He also pointed out how, according to Armando's driver's license, she wasn't actually of legal drinking age. In body cam footage of the encounter, Morrow was heard interrupting the conversation between Alvator and Armando several times. Morrow repeatedly disobeyed instructions to stay inside the vehicle, which perhaps explains why the video was given the title "Woman in Bikini is Convinced That Laws Don't Apply to Her" on the Comp's Bodycam TV YouTube channel. Her behavior grew so difficult to manage that the officers eventually let her leave with her boyfriend. According to law enforcement, Armando failed several field sobriety tests. She invoked her Miranda rights and refused to answer any questions. She was ultimately arrested on suspicion of DUI. Armando was also charged after refusing to take a breathalyzer test, reckless driving, traffic lane violation, and tailgating. 7. Tiffany Gomez. In one of the latest airline passenger outbursts that went viral, a 38-year-old marketing executive named Tiffany Gomez had an extreme meltdown about an invisible man on an American Airlines flight right before it was about to take off from Dallas in August 2023. In footage that first popped up on TikTok, she was heard yelling, "I'm telling you, I'm getting the F off, and there's a reason why I'm getting the F off. And everyone can either believe it or they cannot believe it," as she walked toward the front section of the plane. She then pointed toward the back of the aircraft and said that one of the men back there wasn't real. The rant continued as Gomez said, "And you can sit on this plane and you can die with them or not. I'm not going to." No one except Gomez herself seemed to understand exactly what she was referring to. As she stormed back onto the jet bridge, she was met by several officers who asked to see her boarding pass. Gomez referred to staff members as effing delusional as she called her mum on the phone and claimed she was being followed by two officers who were recording video of her. She wasn't charged or arrested for anything, but has suffered some intense consequences in the court of public opinion. Gomez has posted multiple videos on social media taking some responsibility for her behavior, but she's failed to offer a specific explanation of what was really going through her mind at the time of her temper tantrum. She's complained that the incident has damaged her life and has tried to rebrand her image as a mental health activist while asking the public not to judge her based on the strange incident. 6. Ryan Partridge. 37-year-old Ryan Partridge was permanently blinded back in 2016 when he decided to gouge his own eyeballs out while being held in solitary confinement at the Boulder County Jail in Colorado. He was homeless during that time and was being held for committing a minor assault on another homeless person after descending into the throes of a severe psychotic breakdown. Partridge, who suffers from schizophrenia, was unmedicated and in desperate need of medical treatment for a weeks-long mental health crisis. 6 weeks before he took his eyes out, he reportedly jumped from the second floor of the jail. He crashed headfirst into a metal table before rolling onto the cement floor, leaving him with a broken back. On the day he dug out his eyes, he thought the CIA was telling him to do it. He also broke 7 of his teeth during the prolonged mental episode. In a lawsuit against the jail facility, Partridge's lawyer accused law enforcement officials of ignoring a judge's emergency order to get him treatment. During an interview with CBS in 2017, Partridge said that he didn't think he would have ripped his eye out if he hadn't been sent to solitary confinement. He also acknowledged that employees had offered to give him medication, but said he didn't trust anyone enough to take it. Partridge was awarded a $2,225,000 payout in a civil lawsuit. He accused the jail of being deliberately indifferent to his serious psychiatric needs. He also received a $325,000 award after it was discovered the jail staff used excessive force on him. But none of the money will be able to bring back his eyesight or alleviate any additional mental suffering he's experienced as a result of losing his eyesight. 5. Patton Bluff. Mental health activist John Patton Bluff has had many run-ins with the police. He suffers from bipolar disorder and has used his past experiences with law enforcement to help officers better handle their future interactions with mentally ill individuals. But his continued arrests have caused a lot of concern, especially considering the nature of the crimes he's been accused of. In early 2019, Bluff took a plea deal in connection to 2 incidents involving an unnamed woman from Greenville, South Carolina. The victim accused Bluff of showing up at her job in an irate manner, following her out to her car and crashing into another vehicle with his own. Additionally, the woman claimed that Bluff had assaulted her days earlier when she denied him physical intimacy. Bluff quickly denied all of the assault allegations and accused the police of failing to properly question him. But officials determined that law enforcement did actually follow proper protocol. He was sentenced to 4 years probation, permanently banned from reaching out to the victim, and ordered to undergo a mental health assessment and routine counseling sessions. In September 2021, Bluff was taken into custody in North Carolina after a police pursuit that spanned 3 counties. The chase started when an officer tried to pull him over for driving the wrong way on a highway entrance ramp, but it came after several concerning events. Fitz news journalist Will Folks wrote that Bluff had got into contact with the news outlet the day before he fled to North Carolina, claiming that his car was parked outside a club in South Carolina with a bomb. Bluff also posted on Facebook that day blaming law enforcement for the placement of the supposed explosive. In 2023, viral footage seemed to show Bluff having a childlike outburst at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. According to MSN News, the man in the clip was creating issues on an inbound flight. He reportedly grew even more agitated when officers asked him to leave the airport. The clip featured the individual shouting the lyrics to Eminem's hit song Not Afraid and talking with an officer. A bystander who managed to defuse the situation gained widespread praise from those who saw the footage. The man's identity as Bluff remains unconfirmed after initial reports, but all signs point toward it being likely, including a comment from a TV presenter named Leslie Haas, who wrote that the man in the clip helped police stations around the country until his bipolar progressed too far. He's lost everything and was once a kind man who could have changed the world. Haas called for people online to be more compassionate and less judgmental, while others condemned the authorities for failing to do a better job at de-escalating the situation. 4. Jeremy Theron Smith. Chaos broke out at a Dallas hair salon in May 2022 when a man in a minivan pulled into the parking lot, got out of the vehicle, went into the business, and fired 13 shots from a .22 caliber rifle, hitting 2 employees and a customer. Thankfully, all 3 victims survived with none life-threatening injuries, and 4 others were reportedly endangered throughout the course of the frightening ordeal. Charging documents identified 37-year-old Jeremy Theron Smith as the primary suspect. At first, the case was not being looked at as a hate crime, but detectives started to think otherwise throughout the course of the investigation. According to an affidavit, Smith's girlfriend told law enforcement officers that Smith was experiencing delusions about getting harmed by Asian Americans. The woman allegedly claimed that the bizarre thoughts began right around the time Smith was in a car accident involving an Asian American man 2 years prior. Investigators quoted the girlfriend as stating that Smith has had near panic attacks when he's around anyone of Asian descent ever since the crash. The affidavit went on to say that Smith was fired from his job at an Ulta beauty supply warehouse after getting into a disagreement with his supervisor, who was of Asian descent. By then, Smith's mental health was declining, resulting in his admission to several mental health facilities. According to the most recent update on the case from August 2022, Smith was indicted for 7 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, each with a hate crime enhancement. In a statement, prosecutors said that he's alleged to have intentionally selected the complainants because of his bias or prejudice against Asian Americans. The outcome of the case after this update is unclear. 3. DJ Tenesha. 37-year-old Singaporean model and popular DJ Debbie Valerie Tenesha Long, or DJ Tenesha, was accused of forging an attorney general's signature in some lawsuit paperwork she filed back in April 2022. She was arrested and charged just 5 months later. DJ Tenesha was no stranger to having legal issues. She was charged with drug-related counts dating back to 2019 after drugs were discovered in her luggage after a trip to Amsterdam, and in 2021 she was sentenced to a year and a half in jail for a separate drug-related case. But the forgery case had a very different outcome for DJ Tenesha, who was acquitted after a court determined she was of unsound mind at the time of the offense. According to the Straits Times, the prosecutor revealed in court that the woman thought she was an operative for the Internal Security Department, ISD, when she submitted the forged document. In the prosecutor's words, DJ Tenesha was incapable of understanding the nature and wrongfulness of her act. The decision came on the heels of the woman's diagnosis of an unspecified delusional disorder. She was ordered into the care of Singapore's Institute of Mental Health, where she likely remains. 2. Robert Kennedy. 38-year-old Robert Kennedy was one of 5 candidates running to become the next sheriff of Carroll County, Arkansas, when he was arrested after a bizarre incident in April 2022. According to an affidavit, Kennedy visited his mother's house and demanded she give him her AR-15 rifle while claiming the police were after him. He allegedly said that he had plans to mow those mother effers down. Kennedy's brother, Deputy Austin Kennedy, drove to the home and tried to calm him down. An altercation then ensued, and Robert was arrested on suspicion of terroristic threatening, residential burglary, battery, and 2 counts of assaulting a family member. His sister, Dana Novak, told law enforcement that Robert was threatening to take out the whole sheriff's office and saying that he was going to take everyone out and be sheriff. The affidavit also accused Kennedy of specifically threatening then-Sheriff Jim Ross and his family. He also posted a video to social media that his mother simply described as very bad and reportedly told police that she was worried about her son's safety thanks to his frame of mind at the time. Kennedy was later released on a $100,000 bond and was banned from ever using social media, going online, having weapons, or driving a car. While the outcome of his criminal case is still unclear, it probably won't surprise you to find out that he didn't become the next Carroll County Sheriff. 1. Antonio DeMar Murdoch. In September 2020, a man who was later identified as 31-year-old Antonio DeMar Murdoch allegedly chased after a Hot Springs, Arkansas police officer's vehicle at full speed one morning. The officer initially saw Murdoch coming and had enough time to pull forward and build a safe distance between himself and the suspect, but Murdoch kept charging after him. Luckily for the officer, the bizarre incident happened right outside the police department, and 2 other cops were nearby to help. The officers drew their guns and ordered Murdoch to back down. Thankfully, he listened and put his hands in the air. According to the police, Murdoch was speaking very erratically and claiming a man in his car was trying to kill him. But when officers looked inside his vehicle, nobody was in it, at which point Murdoch said the unwelcome person was inside his engine bay. In a report, an officer noted that it was quickly determined Murdoch was delusional. While cops found no people inside the car, they did find a large amount of marijuana. Murdoch was charged with 1 felony count of possession of a controlled substance and 1 misdemeanor count of criminal trespassing. He pleaded guilty to the felony and was sentenced 4 years of probation. The defendant was in the news again only 2 months later, when he was arrested for forcing a plane's emergency door open while the aircraft was about to leave LaGuardia Airport in New York. Murdoch was arrested yet again in August 2021 on a criminal trespass charge in Denton County, Texas. The outcomes of these recent cases are unclear, but several years have passed since then, so it's probably safe to assume that Murdoch has solved his legal issues and hopefully moved on to a better path in life. Thanks for watching. Would you rather have your boss see footage of you having a meltdown or a video of you calmly and rashly complaining to a coworker about favoritism in the workplace? Let us know in the comments below.